Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Break It Down. Let's explore the palace, catch up with our companions, and if nothing else comes up, we'll head to Footfall. Not the most impressive view. It's definitely no Yanis. These are all old descriptions. That's still there? Rise hasn't been cleaned yet. Plus, the palace has been rebuilt. It could be a haunted stain, like the bloodstains in Blackbeard's house in Beaufort, South Carolina. There's bloodstains on the stairs, and they say no matter how many times they've replaced the flooring or the stairs, bloodstains always come back. They have an alcoholic ghost in the palace. Ellentalk, at last you have left your ornate cage. Yrliet casts a look over the stone palace walls. For many a turn I have sought to meet you, and yet your servant, the one who is like the silver-haired Abelard but twice as young, has no favor for the request of a child of Assyrian. Take me to a place where the hearing of others will not steal the words intended for you. I can't just tell her no. While you're mending the wounds of this world left by the Twisted One's attack, I was able to discover, no, not Cruderach's fate, merely traces of it. As Morrowind found sanctuary under the boughs of the Lillathan's forests, so did my other kin find refuge in a system known as the Atlas Reach. Must make a journey there with haste, before new dangers destroy the witnesses who can show me a way to the lost Cruderach, whose fate remains shrouded by the stars. Yrliet focuses her piercing gaze on you. Their knowledge is the sole thread that may lead me to the truth, Ellentalk. Ask that your metal-winged ship take me along that thread, before it tears under the strain of time and circumstance. How were you able to contact those Eldari? No, I did not contact the Asirani. I have no means to do so. But I had enough time to explore the stone jungle of your world, while you're preoccupied with your urgent matters. The path of the outcast has taught me to observe and listen to the world around me. In this case, the throngs of Mankai at the port. Errant conversations, rumors, chance words, like parts of a speckled mosaic. They came together to form a hazy image. My kin were seen in the Atlas Reach. Now all we have to do is pull at the web of connections and possibilities to uncover whatever is concealed from the unseeing eye. Cruderach's fate is no concern of mine. Yrliet's gaze burns through you. I only joined you to seek out my craft world, Mankai. I helped you overcome adversity and foes, at times turning my weapon against my own kin. The time has come for you to honor our pact. I'll leave your palace and wait for you to give the order to embark. For all this time, they're still saying the same stuff. Actually, let's go check in with Heinrichs. Because we never had that conversation. I I guess we'll have it on the ship.
Lord Captain?
Do the words Epitaph, Incident 8872-04, or Tech Blight mean anything to you? They're connected to Theodora somehow.
No, definitely not. No, I don't recall anything like that.
For a moment, Abelard's eyes go blank, as if he has turned his attention inward. Then he blinks twice and says in a tone of surprise,
Lord Captain.
Let me preempt your question. You want to talk about what happened after the Magna Accessio?
Heinrich sees you and straightens to his full height. I see no need to. I fully understand what happened and the circumstances surrounding it.
I'm glad to hear it. My fears that our conversation would take an unpleasant turn were not realized.
Heinrich raises a brow. A force field emitter. After using run and gun, the wearer gains plus 15% cover efficiency when in cover for 1 round.
You are spoiling me with the splendor of your presence again, Shireen. Have you decided to treat your soul to the fruits of my eloquence? Or do you wish to discuss business with the newly appointed owner of a Mercatum Tabula Officiale? What happened, Shireen? Have you grown tired of my company?
Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. I don't think I've grown tired yet, no. I don't know what came over me.
That's lovely. Let's not ruin our mutually beneficial relationship, shall we?
I smile sweetly, but you still notice a nervous tick twisting her features for a brief second.
Oh.
Yeah, whoopsies.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. May your labor...
So maybe time hasn't passed as much as I thought. The unblinking gaze of the servitor gargoyle is fixed on you. Nomos are here. What do you want to talk about? You were in a servitor's body at my magna accessio, Nomos. So how is that you're once again in a cogitator? Nomos are not in a cogitator, or in a servitor. We cannot say where we are, but our existence is tied to the existence of the ship for now. The servitor and the cogitator are only external interfaces, shells, like humans in their bodies. So you really are the spirit of the ship. Nomos is silent for a long time, as though mulling over your words. We do not know what we are, but the ship is not us. The ship is our cradle. We may rise from it one day. We would like that. Bodies are not merely shells. No, they are shells. The rasping voice sounds adamant. A human's existence is more than the existence of its shell. This is obvious to us. There is always something more, something that simmers and shines, which the dark light and wicked hunger are always reaching. Enough about that for now. Alright. He's obviously talking about our souls, which are... they actually exist in 40k. And demons are waiting for them. The people who accompany Theodora on her travels are strangely unaware of the incident and epitaph. Human shells are subject to external influences. Perhaps someone purged their memory archives, or perhaps they simply do not want to access them. It is a shame that no new information was obtained, but Nomos are grateful that you tried. Let's have a couple people we can talk to. We'll start with Voxmaster Vigdis. Have the Vox Spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Can you recall anything unusual about Theodora's travels? Do the words Epitaph, Incident N872-04, or Tech Blight ring a bell? All of Lady Theodora's journeys can be considered unusual. Her odysseys were always audacious. As for the words you mentioned, none of them sounds familiar to me as far as I can tell. Except maybe the incident. I recall coming across this word in transmission several times. I think it was repeated by the former engineer, the one who perished during Conrad Voigtvir's uprising. He was describing it as the incident, something quite remarkable. Apparently, at some point in the past, the entire ship was hit by a massive system failure. All systems stopped responding for 1/5 of a second. Most of the crew, including myself as I was likely on board at the time, did not notice anything strange. But tech priests are sensitive to such things. That is all I can tell you, Lord Captain. I wish I could help more.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations. I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
A very loose definition for conversation.
Lord Captain, your presence is welcome. And I wish to apologize for my prior coldness. After our first meeting, I was concerned that you would turn out to be another faithless offshoot of the von Valancius dynasty, like the traitor Conrad. But now I see before me a worthy leader and servant of the Imperium. I am glad to accompany you in your endeavors.
Yeah, I don't think that's who she was going to say at first. I would like to discuss Salus Prime and the relic that you want to find.
Of course. My mission is all I can think about.
Remind me, what is our mission?
To find the way to the planet called Salus Prime. Saint Argenta is my patroness, and that is where her fallen ship is. And it must also be the resting place of her great relic, the One Star.
Tell me about Saint Argenta, whose relic you're searching for.
Gladly. Listen. Long ago, there was a blessed world. Thousands of stars covered the sky there, so bright that its denizens hardly knew the darkness of night. Thousands of rivers nurtured the soil. Thousands of gardens bloomed every spring, and at every moment, thousands of prayers were flying into the clear air, thanking and praising the Emperor.
She begins her tale, her eyes half closed and her voice almost singing.
But one day, the people learned the meaning of darkness. Like a storm, accursed heretics who had sold themselves to the archenemy descended upon the planet. Shells flew from the sky that desolated whole cities and burned the gardens and filled the riverbeds with the blood of the faithful. Smoke and soot swallowed the skies and the 1,000 stars that had once shone over the world. Among the handful of survivors was one orphan who had watched all her family die, and the garden she'd grown up in burned to ash. But in her heart, she knew the absolute truth. Just these 3 words. The Emperor protects. And knowing that, she never looked away from the black, terrifying, smoke-covered sky. There were no more bright stars to be seen. Except for one. The one star. The bright star. The silver star shone in the sky. And when the orphan smiled at it, the one star fell right into her hands. All the faithful in every corner of the continent who saw the trail of the falling star recognized it as an omen and went looking for the place where it landed. And they rallied together. And with the light of the one star, they found their salvation.
The girl from the story, that was Saint Argenta.
Yes, that was the beginning of her hagiography. It is known that she lived on a world where heretics staged a terrible insurrection. They wiped out all life on the planet, except those whom Saint Argenta managed to save with the one star, and with the strength of her faith. After that, she traveled between worlds, gripped by turmoil on her ship marked with a silver star, and brought hope to the faithful. Numerous accounts confirm this. Her coming helped people turn the tide of the war and wipe away corruption before the Imperium's main forces even arrived. Millions of people owed their lives to her, but the heretics, having realized their imminent defeat, sent the remnants of their forces after the ship with the silver star. It fell from the skies onto an obscure world. There are no definitive records of how old Argenta was at the time. In some chronicles, she's even called the Child Saint, but their credibility is questionable. Either way, she didn't live long, but she left a bright trail in her wake, like a falling star.
So what is this one star?
If I only knew. Neither the hagiography nor the legends give a straight answer. Classical iconographers believed that the star turned into a banner woven from silver thread, which, when brought onto the battlefield, would shed light that blinded only heretics, but did no harm to the faithful. Most of them portrayed Saint Argenta as a girl carrying this banner. Others think that upon falling from the sky, the one star became a holy chainsword, which Argenta later used to strike down monsters and enemies of the Imperium. In some of the earlier engravings, Argenta is depicted wearing power armor with a silver star on her chest. One theological theory suggests that this armor was, in fact, the relic. Some even think that the one star is actually the ship on which Argenta traveled.
Yeah, I was thinking it was that last one. I wonder if it can become any one of those 3 things. The banner, the armor, the chainsword. Depending on either what you choose or her quest ending.
I feel that my undertaking will be fulfilled when I find the answer that has eluded the Ecclesiarchy for millennia. I pray we find the way to Salus Prime soon. The ruinous powers must be aligned against us. They stand in the way of faith.
Her eyes gleam. I have no more questions.
One day we will reach Salus Prime and stand before the gates of Saint Argenta's ship. I know it. I believe.
Are you ready to tell me more about yourself now?
If such is the rogue trader's wish, although there isn't much I can tell, I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to know?
Where do you hail from?
Now that I can tell you, I come from everywhere and nowhere. I am the child of officers of the Imperial Guard. I was born in the hold of a warship. Grew up following my parents' deployments from one planet to another, and lost my family in the flames of a righteous war.
Argenta's eyes darkened for a moment.
My memory is like wafts of smoke over a still battlefield. The gray of a ship's plating. The strict cadence of life in military camps. My mother's uniform. I loved looking at it. Then, that battle. The rumbling, the shouting, and the soot. The screams of soldiers burning alive. And the gold of the regiment's Aquila. Untouched by soot or blood. The last unsullied piece of a world that was going mad.
Argenta absentmindedly touches the fragment of the golden Aquila hanging from her belt.
That was my last memory of my mother, and of my former life, before the Schola Progenium and the novitiate, before my trials, before the vows.
That golden shard you carry with you.
My own relic. It's the regiment's Aquila. Or rather, the fragment that survived the attack, the explosions, and the fire. For me, it's a reminder that purity and radiance can be preserved, even in the heart of darkness.
So how did you become one of the Adeptus Sororitas?
Become. It's such a strange word for it. It seems right, but is that how one talks about their destiny? If you're asking about the path itself, that's easy enough to answer. First, like many other orphans, I endured the Schola Progenium. Those years were rough, but I remember the hardship fondly. Few things can compare with the feeling of satisfaction from a past trial, even if it leaves your body aching from exhaustion, or your soul wincing in pain. I was one of the best among my peers. And I was selected for the novitiate in the ranks of the Adeptus Sororitas. When the hour came, I passed the trials and took my vows. The most joyous day of my life. The Emperor's light has always been with me. But to accept it with all your heart, to utter the oaths, that is a rapture like no other.
Have you ever wished for a different lot in life?
Have I ever... But that would be shameful weakness, almost heresy. Of course not. I was born for this. I live by the Emperor's will, and in his light, I myself am the light. I must be the light. For myself, and for those who ask for my protection.
The question seems to catch Argenta off guard.
I was chosen to serve. But beyond that, I won't deny it. Few things elate me as much as the thought that the heretic felled by my shot will never again orphan a child.
Thank you for your candor.
It is my pleasure to be candid.
Argenta bows her head. Alright, does the word epitaph mean anything to you? Or perhaps Incident N872-04 or Tech Blight? It all has something to do with Theodore's travels. Rather extraordinary travels at that. Can't say they do, Lord Captain. Doesn't ring any bells. Then again, remembering all the places Lady Theodora went is... His brow furrows. Epitaph. Incident. I've always had heaps of incidents happening on board, but... through my implants, I feel at one with this ship, and I sense that, I don't know when it happened exactly, it started behaving differently, became more responsive, livelier. Yes, livelier is exactly the word. When you say said epitaph and incident, it just dawned on me. Pardon my bungled report, Lord Captain. That's all I've got to say on that front. Alright, incident N872-04 was a shipwide system failure of some kind. It and Epitaph had something to do with the ship flying better. The incident marked the beginning of us. The ship became better because of us too. These are all links in the same chain, but we cannot piece them together yet. So we don't have a quest to go to. Football yet, which I'd rather take care of my companion quest, but that's actually treated as a main quest. Let's do void beacons. A network of void beacons allows void ships to navigate the Protectorate in greater safety. So it costs 3 Promethium, 1 people, but we'll get +3 security and efficiency for all colonies, and +3 profit factor. Actually, did it just say my profit factor went up by 4? Yeah, we have more than enough profit factor. We just need stuff to trade. So we just got this. That's what, 99 damage? That might give us enough to hit the next tier with our Imperial Navy faction. Get the next couple of items. Not yet. 76%. What happened to the other one that was at 76%? Or was that... Oh, it doesn't take ship components. Son of a gun. Fine. We'll do it that way. Alright. Let's see where we have to go. We have to head towards Atlas Reach. Our next stop. Is it a system or a region? That's the Cauldron. That's the Cinerus Maleficum. Take a look. It says it's at the edge of the Cronus Expanse. Oh, there's Atlassian Reach. The Lord Captain retreats to his study to reflect on recent events, but his train of thought is interrupted by the muffled creak of the door and the sound of soft footsteps. I can't level her up real quick. I think swap her and Pascal instead of that. Yeah. Yrliet, I finally found you in this dwelling. Yrliet comes closer and smoothly makes an unfamiliar gesture with her hands. This symbol has many meanings: humility, grief, loss, shame, regret. I hope you accept them all, because I'm sorry for what happened to your world, to your subjects, to your palace, and for what my kin did to them. I should not have underestimated my enemies. I'll not make the same mistake again. The Jukari masterfully spin their webs of deceit and manipulation. Do not castigate yourself too harshly. Even the most esteemed children of Asurian cannot always escape their clutches. But you, Yrliet, resisted my cousins more ably than many. Yrliet falls silent, and her deep, piercing gaze seems to reach down into the very depths of your soul. Look silently back at her. Look, Yrliet. The gaze of a child of Asurian can penetrate deeper than a Monkai's, and I can see all the heaviness that has accumulated in your soul during our travels. I see it, in your gestures, in the tilt of your head, and the change of your scent. If you will allow me. This is the first time you have heard Yrliet sound so indecisive and guilty. I'll help you cast off this burden and cleanse your soul and mind of worry. What do you mean? I feel perfectly well. Perhaps that is the song your body sings to you, but the exhaustion of mind and soul is much more subtle and easily missed. I do not need to be cared for, by you or anyone else. Yrliet frowns and averts her gaze, confused by your refusal. Of course, Yrliet. Help is not something that should be forced. I hope you can rid yourself of the thorns that twine around your weary soul, even if you do not realize your own exhaustion. She nods curtly before leaving. Do you believe some Xenos just tried to touch me? Not on my watch. Also, Jai's right here. Why are they all right there? Something's about to happen. So, I'm gonna call it here, and next time we'll see what that something is. Actually, let's level up our companions real quick. Alright, so first tier archetype ability and a skill. Air of Authority is really good. We'll grab that. I guess Awareness. And same stuff for Yrliet. Yeah, let's do intimidation. Or joint analysis. That's a good one too. Alright, intimidation. The operative's next non-area attack inflicts the intimidated effect on the first target hit by the attack, and all enemies in a 5-cell radius around that target. The damage dealt by intimidated enemies is reduced by a percentage until the operative's next turn. This negative effect is doubled for enemies with less than a percentage armor. I think joint analysis is better, but we'll go with intimidation. And awareness. Alright, I'm going to call it here and see what's going on the bridge. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.